Okay, so as we continue on, we're going to start here on section 8.3 over on page 509, and we're going to talk about returning an object. So here we have the bank account. The bank account looks like it. I think we've seen this in the previous chapters, but it basically has just one instance method, which is a double balance. And here's our constructor that if we pass it the no arc constructor, it goes ahead and sets the balance to 0. And then we have the double and the string. Again, these are those two overloaded constructors that if we receive a double, it goes ahead and sets the starting balance to that amount. If we receive a string, it converts it to a double and then sets the balance to that amount. Okay, and then we've got our deposit. Again, we can receive a double or a string and withdraw a double or a string. And then we have our set balance, both double and string. And then we have just get balance. So nothing new. We've seen that class before. So if we take a look at return object, here we have public static void main, and here we have bank account. So I've gone ahead and created a bank account object called account. It has not been instantiated yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say account is equal to get account. So we come down here, and again it's in italics, so I know that it is a static method. I'm passing in no arguments. So I come down here, and sure enough, here is public static bank account get main. So bank account is being returned. So the bank account object is being returned, and it's being placed into the account object. So that's how it gets instantiated. So I come in here and I have two local variables, an input and a balance, string and a double. And I say input J option pane, enter the balance, and the balance is equal to whatever it is from the input, because input string gets parsed into a double. And then I say return new bank account balance. So what happens is this where the instantiation comes into place. New bank account balance. So basically is returning an instantiated call of the bank account with the double. Okay, so the constructor with the double. And that basically what gets put into here is that class, or I should say that object that has instantiated with a double. And then we go ahead and say what the balance is. We use the method get balance, and it works fine. So we go ahead and run this, and we should see a J option pane dialog box, and we go ahead and type in the balance of 500. We hit the enter key, and basically it called that method and returned an object. So pretty neat stuff there. So just realize not only do we can pass data type variables, we can also pass objects, and we can also return objects as well. Now on section 8.4, this is kind of a really nice method. It's kind of a method that's there behind the scenes, and it's called the toString method. And the great thing about a toString method is it can take it can be part of any class, and we can return a toString. So it converts whatever needs to be converted to a string and basically passes that back. If we look at page 510, there's our UML. We've got a stock class. It looks like we have two instance variables, and then we have a method stock get symbol get share price and toString. So if we take a look at stock, I'm going to look at stock 1. I've got these renumbered by the way, or renamed. So here's stock 1, and here I have my private string symbol, private double share price. So we basically have two instance variables. One's a string, one's a double. Here is my constructor. It looks like I'm receiving a string and a double, and I go ahead and set the symbol, and I set the share price. And then I have set get symbol and get share price, and then I have toString. Now again, toString is one of these methods that's we can kind of include in about any class, and it will actually return a string. So I go ahead and say string str is equal to trading symbol concatenate symbol, and in share price, share price. So returns the symbol and the price. And you can see down here is the return string, and that's basically, so pretty cool there. So if we take a look at what is our calling class here? I believe it is the stock demo 1. So I look at stock demo 1, and here we have our public static void main, and there I say stock 1. So that's our class. I want to call this XYZ company is instantiated as a new stock 1, and I'm passing in a string XYZ and a double 9.62, and then I say system out print line XYZ company. Now, this is the tricky part. Where's the toString? Why aren't we calling a toString? Well, a toString is static. Kind of it's basically static, which means we don't really need to say, when I just say XYZ company, it just knows to execute the toString. Okay? So, when I execute this line right here, it knows to execute the toString. So if I run this guy, it basically, there's that toString, trading symbol XYZ, share price 9.62. So pretty cool stuff. So the toString is kind of nice when we need to display some type of string from that particular object. Now 8.5 on 513, this gets into a really cool thing called equals. Now, we have seen in the past we have the double equal sign, and that can actually get us into trouble sometimes, especially when one of those objects is a null value. So let's just go ahead and take a look at the code, and the code is the stock compare, and I believe this is the stock 2. So here we have public static void main, and I've got stock 2 company 1, and we've basically set the XYZ at 9.62, and then stock 2 company 2, and we've set it to the same exact thing. So I have two objects, company 1, company 2, and they both pretty much have the same data in there. And then I say if company 1 dot equals. So as you notice here, dot equals is a built-in method for all objects. It's always there. And what it says is this: if the contents, the toString variables, equal company 2 toString variables, they are then equal. Now, here's kind of a rule we should always follow. For example, if I have something like this, let me see if I can write this. If I say if company 1 dot get symbol is equal to XYZ, then sys out same. Okay, so basically here's what I'm saying is company 1 dot get symbol if it's equal to that XYZ. Now here's where this gets us into trouble, is if this company 1 is empty, has a null value, this guy is going to blow up and stop the execution of our program. So how do we get around that? Well, the rule is this. I'm sorry, yeah. Let me try this. I should say equals. There we go. That's what I was trying to do. So okay, so I'm basically saying if the get symbol that I get back from company 1 is equal to XYZ, if company 1 get symbol, if that is a null value, this guy blows up. So the rule is this: we always put the sure thing to the left of dot equals. So in this case, I know X, Y, Z, that's a literal, that's a sure thing. It's always going to be there. So I do a dot equals, and I'm going to go ahead and do company1 dot get symbol and strip the rest of this off. And again, that is a sure thing. What is this saying? It's I need one more here. Oh, yes, I do. Okay, so in this case, it's the same exact statement. Same exact statement, except on the left now we have a for sure thing. It's a literal. Now on this, if this guy is null, it will not blow up. A null does not equal XYZ, so that's a valid statement. But if this guy is null on the left, it will blow up the program. So just always keep that in the back of your mind. Always put the for sure thing to the left of dot equals. Okay. On page 817, we talk about methods that copy objects. And so this is the object copy class. And so it's a public static void main. And again, we got stock company 3, company 1, new stock. So basically, it does basically the same thing. And I say company 2 equals company 1 dot copy. Wow. There's something new. So if I go over here, so company 1 is stock 3. I'm going to go to stock 3. I'm going to check to see, is there a copy in here somewhere? So I've got, there's my constructor, there's my get symbol, get share price, toString, equals, and copy. Sure enough, there's a copy method. Pretty cool. So what's it say? It says take stock 3 copyright object, so the current class, create a new object from the class and make it equal to stock 3 symbol share price. So symbol and share price are the symbol and share price from up above. And then I say return the copy object. Okay, so basically what I'm returning is an exact duplicate of the current class. So I go back to object copy, and sure enough, I have company 2 is now equal to company 1. They're identical at this point. And then I can go ahead and say print out company 1 and the company 2 and the company, and if company 1 equals company 2, then company 1 and company 2 equal, else company 1 and company 2 do not equal. So if we go ahead and run this, it says trading companies XYZ 9.62, trading symbols XYZ, shared prices 9.62, the company 1, company 2 variables reference different objects. So over here, when it says if company 1 is equal to company 2, well, in a sense, we think they should equal, but they don't. Behind the scenes, there's hashtags, there's reference variable numbers, there's all kinds of different things specific for an object. So there's actually unique identifying numbers and characters that identify each one of those objects. And so when it tries to compare those two, they do not equal, and we see those as two separate objects. So again, as we saw in the previous one, we use the dot equals. That truly checks to see if fields actually equal and not just the actual object itself. So we can also do that same thing within an object. Or a constructor. I can actually, so there on page 518 it talks about copy constructors, so we can actually do the copy statement inside of there. That's all we're going to cover for this chapter. And then next week we'll basically continue the second half of chapter 8. And so this is it for chapter 8 for this week, and then we will finish chapter 8. And then so again, 2 weeks from today will be the midterm, and then we will continue on to chapter 9. Okay, so we'll see you next week.